I heard a lesson I'm about to share with you about 30 years ago, and it stopped me in my tracks, caused me to immediately change my perspective and my habits on a certain issue. The spies are sent to go check out the promised land, and they return. 10 of them bring back a bad report, and their fellow Jews believe that report. And as a result, they get punished. They have to wander in the wilderness for another 40 years instead of going directly into Israel. If you look carefully, you'll see that the spies did not come back empty-handed from their mission. They brought back souvenirs, some giant grapes, and a big fig, and a pomegranate. But those are only 3 of the 7 species for which Israel is known. They did not bring back wheat. They didn't bring back barley. They didn't bring back olives, for example. Why? Because figs and pomegranates and grapes are dessert foods. Whereas if you have wheat and you have barley and you take olives and you press them into oil, now you can cook a meal. You've got a main course. So they were intentionally trying to suggest to their fellow Jews, Israel, great desserts, great place to visit, but no main course. You could never live there. And so the episode of the spies wasn't just a historical one-off from thousands of years ago. It's a lesson for us today. And it's a particularly important one today, with many people planning to head to Israel now that the pandemic hopefully is over or waning and there are no more masks needed on planes. If you go to visit and you come back, even though you had a wonderful trip, but you have some complaints, and you complain about anything, the weather or the traffic or the people or the bureaucracy, any possible complaint, you may unwittingly, unintentionally repeat the sin of the spies by convincing someone who was thinking about Aliyah, you know what, it is too difficult and I don't want to have to deal with that issue or that problem. So we have to be very, very careful. Ever since I heard that explanation, I have tried to be, not perfect, but I've tried to be very careful not to say anything negative about the land of Israel. But it's not enough to just zip our lips and not say anything negative. We have to be active. The Talmud tells us about Rabbi Abba, who would kiss the stones of Israel to show his love for the land. And about Rabbi Hanina, who would remove or fix obstacles on the roadways. He didn't want the roadways to get a bad reputation. And about Rabbi Ami and Rabbi Asi, when they would study together outdoors. If it was summertime and it was hot, they would go into the shade. And if it was winter and it was chilly, cold, they'd go into the sun. Because they wanted to make sure that no one would have any complaints. Even they themselves wouldn't have any complaints about the weather. We have to be vigorous defenders of the land, showing our love, never saying anything negative, always saying things that are positive, making sure that people know, Israel, it is a great place to visit, but it's also a great place to live.